The issue of whether vaccinations should be mandatory in schools has been a very hot topic in recent years. Vaccinations help prevent the spreading of diseases in an environment where sickness spreads easily due to close contact with many people in a short period of time. Vaccination laws are currently determined by individual states. In Illinois, all public and private school students are required to be treated with many different vaccines, including those for mumps, rubella, and meningitis. Despite the success of vaccines in preventing outbreaks of diseases, some people still refuse to be vaccinated, citing religious or other personal reasons for their refusal. Some other theories, such as vaccinations being a cause of autism, have also prevented parents from vaccinating their children. ACHS school nurse Wanda Sobczak gave us her expert opinion on the topic.
Well, freshman year, everyone has to come in with an updated physical and immunization. So they have to have enough tetanus vaccines, and they also have to have something called a Tdap vaccine. They don't have the right to refuse, but I will say that they have two things that they could do potentially. If you have had a poor reaction to a vaccine, for instance, I had a parent call this week who said her student had a seizure and passed out after receiving the meningococcal vaccine. That obviously is not something we want to repeat with a second dose. So she will have to provide medical documentation to say that this response resulted from the vaccine. But we're also required by the Illinois Department of Public Health now to submit these medical exemptions to a greater review board to make sure that whatever reasons have been documented by the physician are really acceptable and that there really is a greater risk to giving it than to receiving it. Because unfortunately doctors will often write notes without some of the backup, and so we don't really know the reason why they're medically not able to take something, and that really isn't acceptable. It could be something very minor where the risk, is not great and they should receive the vaccine, so we have to go through that step now. Fortunately, there are very few of those exceptions. Most people have no reactions whatsoever and tolerate the vaccines very well. The other instance is a religious exemption. I will say that from my experience, I come from a faith background that at one point really questioned the use of certain vaccines based on how they were produced. But in checking my resources, even for my own faith, there are really, the church supports vaccines, but not all faiths do that, and everyone comes from different backgrounds. So we will respect that. In the past, we've been able to receive a form letter that details for the vaccines what they don't agree to or what they object to on a religious basis, signed and dated, has to be presented every year, not just one time. Sometimes a conversation is necessary in order for parents to understand that there really is nothing wrong with taking the vaccine, but again, we do want to respect religious beliefs. So if they complete this form, they will be able to get that exemption on a religious basis. But it's a lot more work to do now, and I think that's part of it too. Is I think maybe some people just won't want to do that, so they just get their kids vaccinated. In my experience, I would tell everyone to get vaccinated.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services cited 5 reasons why vaccines should be administered to children. They are very safe and effective. They protect people you care about. They protect future generations. They can save your family time and money, and they can save your child's life. While there are still doubts, studies show that the pros outweigh the cons. Vaccinations are key in creating a safe learning environment for students.